President Assad, thank you for joining us on Sky News this afternoon. What do you think best reflects what's happening in the country at the moment?
Good afternoon, Kay. I think it's very dangerous after what we have seen yesterday, the incident that happened yesterday. I have been in touch with people who are living actually right next door of the National Security Building and who have, said that they haven't heard any bombing going on. So I'm very suspicious about what happened yesterday. And again, there was rumors a couple of months ago about those same people being poisoned. And so it's very strange to find out like a couple of months later that those same people are in the same room and they have been killed. Again, there have been two groups, who have claimed responsibility for that attack. One is the Free Syrian Army and the other one is an Al-Qaeda group. So it's again very strange because it's either that Al-Qaeda is working with the Free Syrian Army or either that none of them has really done that. Or what we could say is that it has given the regime an excuse for using now overwhelming force in Damascus. Fights have been going on non-stop. So I've spoken to people at 3 o'clock in the morning and there were helicopters and tanks who were bombing some areas in Damascus. And I think we're going to see the death toll rising tremendously after what happened yesterday.
We've just seen images on Syrian state television which purport to show footage of President Bashar al-Assad with his new defence minister sworn in today after the previous defence minister killed yesterday. I believe that you have been speaking to people who were in the building at the time.
Sorry, I didn't hear very well, Kay, your question.
You have spoken to people who were in the building at the time that the three senior members of the government were killed yesterday.
Yeah, no, I spoke to someone who lives right next door in the Rauda area. It's really the building right next door to that building. And any explosion or any bombing would have been heard, in all that area. So could you imagine in the building next door, and they haven't heard anything actually.
Many opposition groups claiming responsibility for the deaths.
Yes, different groups have claimed responsibility for the death, but it's very strange. I mean, it's how could it be different groups? It's either all Al-Qaeda is working with the Free Syrian Army, or really none of them did it, and just they're trying to claim the credit for it.
I wonder what you think the Arab League's position will be and its relationship with Syria, given the deaths yesterday.
I think that the Arab League doesn't have much to say today. As you know, and unfortunately, there was a Kofi Annan plan that everyone agreed on. And then a week later, at the Friend of Syria conference, they decided to arm the Free Syrian Army and give salaries to the to the Free Syrian Army. Well, this was not very helpful to the Kofi Annan plan. Because in the Kofi Annan plan it states that all sides should stop the violence, and how could you stop the violence from both sides if one side continues on being armed and trained and given money and equipment to fight? We have to really stand. The only way out of what's happening is to stand by the Kofi Annan plan, is to abide by the Kofi Annan plan. All sides should stop the violence, because the civil war that we have been speaking about and warning about for the past 17 months is really starting now. The civil war that I've been afraid of taking place in Syria, it's really starting now. It has started since yesterday. And unfortunately, as I said, there's going to be an overwhelming force. The army is not going to be restricted to any use of force, or they're going to use everything they have to quell those armed groups that are fighting in Damascus.
And a final thought, if you would please, sir. We've seen that diplomacy yet again not working within the United Nations Security Council, both China and Russia vetoing any attempt to get through a new resolution by other Western nations. And we're just hearing that according to an opposition chief quoted on one of the wires agencies saying that the Syrian regime is, in quotes, in its final days. What do you think?
First of all, I'm not surprised by Russia's and China's stance, and they have. I've been saying again that they will not change. They will not change because they have their own interests, at risk, not only in Syria, but their own interests, that also including the U.S. missile shields, the NATO missile shields. It has also to do with what China perceives as the U.S. policy of encirclement. So they have many problems, on different fronts, and they're all using Syria as a proxy war. Unfortunately, as you have seen, there's 11 ships now, Russian ships who are in the Mediterranean. The U.S. fleet is also heading there. There's a lot of tensions. But I don't honestly think that these are the last days of the regime. I think in the country this is the beginning of a very scary stage in Syria, and we're going to see an escalation that we haven't seen before, unfortunately.
Okay. Ribal Al-Assad, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you.